This is a two-player game in which the players will take on the roles of either the rebels or the Empire and seek to destroy a certain number of their opponent's bases depending on the game mode being played. Players each start the game with a deck of 10 starting cards. Each side also begins with a starting base in play that can suffer 8 damage before being destroyed. During setup, the Galaxy Row is created, which consists of 6 cards that will be available to acquire or defeat depending on the affiliation of that card. The affiliations are either Rebel, Empire, or Neutral. The Force track is also set up with the Force marker set all the way to the Rebel side. On their turn, players will begin by selecting a new base if their previous base was destroyed. The bases have a variety of abilities or effects, so choose wisely. Next, the player will check to see if they gain an additional credit on their turn for the Force marker being fully on their side of the Force track. Then the player will choose to play cards from their hand. Cards played will generate credits, damage, or force. Credits are used to acquire new cards, damage tokens are used to damage the opponent's base, capital ships, or cards in the Galaxy Row, and force is used to shift the force marker toward your side of the force track. Cards also have a variety of effects when played according to their ability text. At the end of a player's turn, the player will discard all unit cards they played, as well as any unplayed cards from their hand. If a player played any capital ship cards, those remain in play and must be destroyed before their opponent can deal any damage to their base. Players will then draw back up to the hand size of 5. If a player needs to draw a card but their deck is empty, they shuffle their discard pile to form a new deck, then continue to draw. The turn then passes to their opponent. Players continue taking turns until one of them has managed to defeat their opponent's third base in the beginner mode or fourth base in the advanced mode. Once the last base is defeated, the game immediately ends with the victory going to the player who managed to defeat the last base. So I hope you found that overview helpful. I just wanted to highlight a couple other things about the game. So the first of all is the price point. So this MSRP is about $37.99 at the time of this recording. Though as usual, you may be able to find it cheaper elsewhere online. So I did want to go over the playtime as well. So on the box, it lists about 30 minutes, which seems to be true for a good average. I will say, depending on the cards that come out, it can certainly go either a little longer if a lot of capital ships are coming out, for example, or it could go on the shorter end at about 15 minutes or so if one person is just drawing quite a bit of damage output and able to defeat bases quicker than you would expect. So we can go over the complexity or the weight of the game as well. So on Board Game Geek, this does rank about a 2.03 out of 5. So again, this one is lighter on the complexity scale, which means it is a really good entry-level game. If you're wanting to introduce some folks into deck building games or board gaming in general, this would be a good option for that. And then we'll touch base on the age range of the game. So the box does have this listed at about 12 or older for the game, but again, Board Game Geek does list about 10 or over. So certainly give it a shot with anybody who's 10 or older and see how they do, especially if they're a Star Wars fan. And then lastly, just want to kind of touch base on who is this game for, right? Who may enjoy this game? So obviously the first thing being, if you're a fan of Star Wars or a fan of deck building games, this is going to be a really good one for you to try out. Or if you're looking to give deck building a try and you really like head-to-head games where you have that player interaction where you're trying to beat down your opponent, this is a good option for that as well. And with that being said, I just want to thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and give me a follow. If you want to, stay tuned for more board gaming content. Feel free to share this with your friends if you think that they're really into Star Wars and you maybe want to try to get them into buying the game so you can give it a try, or checking it out with you as well. And I would love to hear what you think about the game. Have you played Star Wars, the deck building game? If so, do you prefer the Empires versus the Rebels, or is there a certain strategy that you really like to try? Or if you're not so much a fan of this one, are there other deck building games that you would recommend to new players to kind of get into the genre? And as always, I just want to thank you so much for watching and happy gaming.